So welcome to Scouting for Growth. Today, I'm meeting with Sid Chakravarthy, founder and CEO of StaTwig. Sid is a leading expert in emerging technology, such as the Internet of Things and blockchain. Sid uses this technology to develop solutions that have large-scale social impact. And 6 years ago, when I met with Sid, Sid launched a company called StaTwig to record product journey across supply chains, from manufacturers to customer, to create extra layers of visibility, transparency, and authenticity. The StaTwig team has worked with amazing customers such as UNICEF, Gavi, the NASDAQ, and I'm sure I'm missing a lot. I think the World Economic Forum as well. And so Sid today has a lot to share with us. So welcome, Sid.
Thank you, Sabine. Thanks for having me on your podcast.
And, a question I ask all my guests is, tell us a little bit more about you, what you are doing, and what keeps you awake at night every day.
So yeah, I'm an entrepreneur with a 3-year-old son, so a lot of things keep me awake. Yeah, so it's a nightmare to deal with a startup and with a 3-year-old. But I'm quite so as you rightly pointed out, I like what I am in true nature is a solution architect. So kind of look at a problem, create solutions. I get very excited if that solution has some good impact, social impact. I mean, I'm drawn more towards building solutions where I'm I'm able to scale the solutions to very large populations and help a lot of people. So that kind of motivates me, that kind of excites me. And by like being so a lot of things. I mean, I'm so excited about so many different things, but I also try to stay focused on solving one problem at a time. So which is very tough, right? So it takes a long time to build a solution and scale it up. So yeah, but that's about me.
So Sid, you mentioned you're a solution architect. So what got you into becoming a CEO of a company, of StaTwig, balancing technology and business?
Yeah. So I was before this startup, I was working in Bay Area, California. So mostly for large product companies like Cisco. Then I quit and came back to India, where I'm from actually. So when I moved back to India, I started to just instead of starting something immediately, I just started to look at different industries in my city. And the interesting fact about where I come from, Hyderabad, is it's a vaccine. It's not just vaccines, but it's pharma capital of the world. So nearly 30% of all the global drugs in the world get manufactured in this city, just one city. So that was quite interesting, and I had no clue about that growing up, right? So when I got introduced, I got deeper into this industry, and then I noticed, I mean, there are some big problems. There are big problems in terms of not during the manufacturing, but these drugs and vaccines reaching the last mile to the people who really need. So there's a lot of problems in between where products get damaged, spoiled, they get stolen, sold in black markets. So I was at that kind of excited me to see if I can use my Bay Area skills to solve some real world problems. And yeah, that's how I started the company. So that's we picked vaccines. At that time, when we started in vaccine space, it was a very boring product. COVID made it very, very attractive all of a sudden. But at that time, vaccines was in no one's mind. It was only children getting vaccines and parents forgetting about it after they get their children vaccinated. But we started in vaccine space to solving these problems very early on, and we received very good support from big organizations like UNICEF and Gavi. in this journey. And kind of COVID came into picture, and we were in a good place, in the right place at the right time. We already had a solution, built a solution, we're testing it. So it was ready to solve some big problems with COVID.
It's interesting because when we met, I remember the use case we were working around with StaTwig, which was about, I remember, imagine Sabine, you have Kobe beef coming from Australia, transacting to China. Did you know that a lot of Kobe beef tend to be stolen on the way? Yeah. And then you actually explained to me how the blockchain is a way to track that Kobe beef and enable the suppliers to make sure that the product ended up where it needs to be, so that everybody on that value chain got the reward they deserve. Can you actually tell me how that you move from Kobe beef to vaccine?
No, I mean, at the beginning of our company, obviously we were working on, I mean, we were looking at different use cases, right? So we had, there was a potential in a lot of industries with a lot of products, food, agriculture, life sciences. There still is a huge potential in all of those industries. But then at some point, we narrowed down. So we realized, hey, we're a small team. We can't focus on all the problems in the world. So we just have to pick one, and one that we are passionate about, one where the solution matters a lot, and where we have people ready to accept the solution, right? Because blockchain back when we met was like very early. I mean, no one really understood it. It was all confusing. I mean, it was like always mistaken for Bitcoin. So there was a lot of confusion back then. I mean, it's less confusing right now, but so we had to narrow down on one single area, so that we are stay focused. We create some validation, we create some impact, so that we can scale. From there, we can probably scale into other areas. And vaccines made sense because of early support from UNICEF, which is the largest distributor of vaccines. So they distribute nearly 4 billion doses of vaccine. And when UNICEF said, hey, I mean, we like your idea, let us fund your project. So that was, I think that was a no-brainer for us to stay focused in one space.
And it's great. We always say to founders, as you remember, focus, focus, focus. Don't try to go far too fast. And so it's nice to hear that you applied the good advice. So tell us, how do you apply StaTwig, and I assume the blockchain, to vaccine?
Yeah, it's to be, if you imagine, it's very simple. So let me talk about the vaccine supply chains. All supply chains are similar. So there is a manufacturer who produces vaccines, and then they hand it over. They sell those products to a wholesaler or distributor, who then brings it to different markets in different geographies, and handed it over to the retailers. And the retailers finally sell it to the consumers. So there's a bunch of different stakeholders. There's product changing hands. There's transportation companies, warehouse companies, which store the product and transport the product in between. So if you can imagine a very complex network of partners, so to speak, so who are working together to bring the product to the market, to the final consumer, right? So in this whole thing, I mean, they've been doing the business together for ages, but there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of basically lack of interoperability, so to speak, when it comes to sharing information with each other. So I, as a manufacturer, I'm tracking the products when they're in my custody. When I hand them over to you, so you will be doing that in your business, in your locations. But there is no easy way to put that information together, so that we both have this end-to-end visibility of how the product is moving across the supply chain, right? So we figured a very simple model leveraging blockchain. I mean, this would have been possible. I mean, people might have thought about this solution maybe 50, 70 years before we came in, right? So it's I think, but the only thing which was lacking was, I think, internet access everywhere to implement this successfully, and lack of something like blockchain technology, right? So who can bring all of these stakeholders together? So what we're doing is very simple, if you can imagine. So you have this product, a vial of vaccine, right? So we create a digital ID for that product. So this digital ID is globally unique. And wherever you are, whoever you are, you type in that digital ID on a platform, kind of like a Google search. It tells you what product it is, where it is, right? Now, once we create that digital ID, we have touch points across the supply chains. So if you can imagine the supply chains as a big network, and each location, like for example, an airport as a touch point. So we have these touch points using our software. And as soon as this product vaccine moves from one touch point to another touch point, we get a lot of data about it. So we create a story. We kind of say, hey, this vaccine, its name is this, its profile is this. So it's traveling from this person to this person, this location to this location. This is how it is right now. It's quality, safety information. So we're kind of writing a story of that product as it moves along its journey from manufacturers to consumers. So that's our solution, and that opens a lot of doors, right? So this information was never available before. That opens a lot of doors to build new applications and new solutions and new business models on top of that data.
So every vaccine, I assume, has an ID, and you're able to track it across its value chain. I assume you're able to track multiple value chains across the world to make sure it goes to its destination.
Yeah, absolutely. And now that you can track, now that you have this network of touch points who are using your software, you can track a vial of vaccine, a bottle of wine, you can track a bag of rice. So it could be basically scaled to multiple things and from there on. So that automatically brings scalability into the system, right? Because you're most of if you imagine an airport, you can imagine the variety of products that go through an airport. So you can create story for all of those products as well.
I mean, that means that, when you look at it from an insurance viewpoint, a big opportunity may lie into business interruption insurance, where you're able to track, to drive transparency, and actually probably improve trust around which premium organizations are being charged against, to actually deliver, make sure that products are being delivered. And if they are not delivered, you know exactly what has happened where.
Absolutely. You're totally right. So, I mean, can be used by underwriters to figure out what is the risk for each supply chain, right? How much product is getting damaged? How do I write policy for that? You can prevent some of the claims from happening because you have visibility data. You can say, hey, from our data, there is going to be a failure in this supply chain because of XYZ reason, right? So we can prevent some of those failures. So it can be used in multiple ways. You're absolutely right. So in multiple and the same can be used for multiple variety of insurance company products as well. So it's quite valid for a bunch of different variety of products.
Wonderful. So I would love to actually stretch our conversation. We've talked about blockchain. I know you are an expert around the Internet of Things. The buzzword of the day, as you know, is the Metaverse and NFTs. I would love for you to explain to us what is the Metaverse and how do you combine the Metaverse with NFTs to drive value across different industries?
Yeah. No, I mean, so Metaverse and NFTs are not complex at all, actually. So, I mean, a very easy way to imagine is imagine a gamer, basically. So he is involved in a game. So he is basically living in a game. So he is what his avatar is. He is basically talking to people in the game. He's talking to living in the game, buying things, selling products. So there's a lot of activity that people do in a game. Now, if you scale that up to non-gamers and everyone else, right? So imagine a world like an alternate world where people can just plug in and do what they want. They might prefer to do shopping or do partying or clubbing, and so it could be anything, right? So meet, travel, or build a home in the metaverse and buy stuff for the home. So it's, I mean, the possibilities are endless. So there's a lot of things that you can do. And that is what metaverse is. It's basically where it's a digital reality where you can anytime plug in and live there. So now NFTs is very interesting. So NFTs is a basically a certification of ownership of a product. So it's basically a digital art, right? So all you're saying is maybe 500 million people might have the same digital art on their laptop, but there is one certificate which says, hey, this is the actual owner, right? Sabine bought it. Sabine is the actual owner for all those copies, right? So can you prevent all of those 500 million people from using it? No, maybe not. Maybe in the future you will, but you are the actual owner. So it's a basically a certificate of ownership, which gives you access to use that product, sell that product, brand that product, or use it for commercial, so many other reasons, right? So for example, a common use case is someone owning a digital art. So they're basically uh, starting clubs on Metaverse where based on your NFT, your NFT kind of acts like a key to open doors to like inner clubs within the metaverse where you're allowed, where you can meet other similar NFT owners, and where you can socialize. So that's just the beginning. I think there's a lot that can happen. There's obviously it can also where it's going to and get to soon is where what we are very excited about, right? So far it's only have been on the digital asset side. So you can NFTs has been only been used for any digital art, memes, and so on and so forth. But there is a huge market out there where it can be used for physical products. Let's say, for example, I'm sure it's not, but Mona Lisa is on sale, and someone bought the NFT. Now, so they own the certificate of that ownership. Mona Lisa could still be in the museum, locked away safely. They don't have to bring it to their home. I mean, unless they want to, but they can use that copy. They can basically, I don't know, start manufacturing T-shirts with Mona Lisa painting on it, and they would earn money. They can sell posters of it. They can basically also use it in metaverse where they are can easily put it on their wall, or can also do some business with it. So it opens a new variety of businesses. I'm not just saying new business models, but new businesses and new opportunities. People are today selling land in metaverse, virtual land, so where you can buy a plot and build a home or build a museum or build something where people can monetize that. So that's the world that these two open up, and that's how they are connected. So NFTs can act as a way of bringing your real world products into the metaverse. So it's like a portal where you own something, and you can bring that product into the metaverse by using that certificate of ownership.
See, it's interesting because just the past 2 days, had a lot of conversation around the metaverse. So first, I think, as you said, I can understand the angle around gaming, right? Gamers already in that, digital reality environment, virtual reality environment where they are already used to gaming and playing with others. And so you can make digital offers to those gamers to be able to buy digital things potentially with their bitcoins or their digital currencies. Then when I looked at other industries, I thought, when you look at healthcare, you can see a lot of attention around immersive technology, VR, AR, XR, coming to bear to actually not only support employees, but also support patients, which entail to me that you need those digital environments to look really pretty. And as you said, maybe having the Mona Lisa on some of those digital walls. But then I can see education, training. We are remotely working offices. Maybe I don't want you to see my home. And so I can actually create a digital office, which actually I'm going to rent, right? To welcome other people or even do my digital conferences. So I can really already see, some aspect as to where the metaverse can already be utilized and monetized today. So that's interesting. And the conversation I've had recently with one of the experts I'm working with is that why not, buying marketing NFTs on the podcast channel that I'm running. It's interesting where we can go. So there are, I think, already use case. I heard that it's probably around 30 billion market just now. I'm sure next year will.
It's turned 41 billion actually. It's going nuts actually. So it's like there's no stopping it. It's crazy. It just started last year, and the mainstream, and it's 41 billion already. It's amazing. I mean, what like when you're talking about marketing, I mean, imagine also doing NFT for your time. I mean, you can say, hey, this is my 24 hours or in a month, so I can do one NFT for each hour. So you buy it today so that in the future you can use it whenever, right? So Sabine's time becomes very expensive in the future. So you buy it today so that you can trade it and it becomes more valuable. So today it's $100 per hour. So it can be $1,000 in a couple of months. So it can be used for anything. The limits are, there's no limits actually. So the more you can imagine, the more you can use it for.
And the financial principle of net present value is applied, it sounds like, to NFTs as well. £1 today, £1 in the future, which is great. How can we use this concept of metaverse and NFTs in finance? Because, I was talking to, again, a few more experts, and we're talking about NFTs and insurance. Can we insure digital assets? How do you see us using insurance within the NFT world?
Absolutely. I mean, there's already companies which are issuing loans on your NFT. So they're using your NFT as a collateral to issue loans. I mean, it's just a matter of time. I bought an NFT. It's expensive. I obviously want to insure it, right? Insure both the physical product, if there is a physical product, and the certificate, right? So that no one steals it, no one. I mean, it could be. I mean, for whatever reasons, right? So there's a it's a new product actually. It's a new product within the insurance. I don't think there is an existing product, so it opens new revenue channels for insurance companies.
When you mentioned earlier, let's not, talk about the business models.
Yeah.
But, what do you think are the most effective business models as a result to monetize? When you look at blockchain, metaverse, NFTs, what do you think will be effective business models for this type of technologies?
So we are focusing more on the marketplace side. So we want to be a platform where people can buy and sell. And within that area, we want to specialize on physical NFTs for physical assets, right? Because that's where our strength, our supply chain tech comes into picture. We can tag, track, and trace a product to ensure its authenticity, quality, safety, a lot of other aspects, right? So now you can use that data and augment that with the NFT so that people whoever is buying it knows that, hey, this is a certificate of a real product. It's not just someone randomly creating a bogus NFT, right? So it's an actual product which is there, which is locked up somewhere. You can track it, you can monitor the temperature, you can monitor the humidity. So that brings a whole new level of confidence. And so that kind of creates a niche marketplace, which is called augmented marketplace. So it's not the mainstream marketplaces where anyone can buy and sell anything. It's more niche, focused on one particular use case. In our case, the physical NFTs for the physical products. So that's where I mean the business model is very simple. It follows like any similar marketplace business models. There's transactional fee based on how many transactions there are happening, and there's also additional add-on services for tagging and tracking, right? So that also brings in revenue for the company.
So looking at your founder's journey, Sid, what would be the things you could share to, with our listeners around the things you've learned across your journey as a founder, and what things you would have done differently?
Yeah, I mean, this so I just entered this place, blockchain space, on the enterprise side, which was a very slow moving beast. So there were a lot of nights where I thought, hey, I should have just stayed pure blockchain, right? So not focus on enterprise side. But I think this one thing that I have learned is to be patient and to keep on pivoting wherever it's needed, and to look at being flexible. I mean, I think if you're being flexible and adopting and learning new things, there's always a way. And I think one of the other things is you should never be afraid to quit if it's not working. I think most of my fellow founders that I've seen, it becomes very hard to give up, right? So, but I think it's good to give up sometimes, and then start something fresh, maybe in the same area, right? So you don't have to go too far away from what we are doing. I mean, just twist it a little bit and look at a new market. So that kind of can make it work.
One thing we hear a lot, in this year, starting 2022, is how businesses needs to be aligned with sustainable requirements, UN SDGs, and the ESGs. And I wonder, when you look at StaTwig, how do you make sure that everything you build is also sustainable, looking at circular economy potentially? And as we use technology such as Metaverse, NFTs, and blockchain, as we know, those consume a lot of, technological power, a lot of electricity. How do you balance the two?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, so that SDGs have always been our focus, especially because of the UNICEF funding, right? So if you look at our core platforms, they're all open source. So they're open source so that people can use it and build new applications on top of it. And our applications, especially the vaccines, have been especially focused around lower and middle income countries, deployments in those countries where there are real challenges in these vaccines reaching the final consumers, right? So, which are children. So many people die, children die. I think million is the accurate, somewhere around 1 million children die each year because of vaccine preventable diseases. So it's a big problem that we're solving. Even with NFTs, one of the reason why we focused on physical art is, I mean, especially in the lower and middle countries, if you're an artist, you are basically in the bottom of the pyramid, right? So you're bottom of the pyramid, you're earning like very small fraction of the overall like the cost of a painting. So there's so many middlemen in between who are basically taking a cut. The guy who actually produced it never knows at what was the final price, or has no market access, right, to sell their product. So that's where I think this also opens up doors, right? So They can create art, find a huge market, right? So they're not selling locally, they're selling globally, where people are eager to buy it and trade it. So the different thing about NFT from the traditional ones is, when someone was buying an art, they were buying it to store it, right? Keep it. But here they're buying to trade it. So they were buying it for 100 bucks, and they want to make it 1,000 bucks, sell it at 1,000 bucks in a couple of hours. So I think that's, so every time that happens, there is a royalty fee that automatically goes back to the artist. So no matter how many transactions are happening, there's a like 5%, 10%. It's always going back to the artist who originally created it. So that has immense value. I mean, that is what artists were fighting to get from Spotify and other big companies as well, right? So hey, we want to earn how many times we sell, right? So that's, I think it opens new doors. I think I'm quite excited. The costs on the electricity and the other side will go down. I mean, the early blockchains were experimental, so they were not built for keeping in mind a lot of these considerations around energy consumption and things like that. But there's a lot of improvement, and there's a huge research that has been happening to reduce that burden on natural resources, and that's I mean, I think it will change quickly. I don't think it will not. It will. I think that the community has a very high focus around sustainability. So I think they will make this more efficient and less cumbersome. I mean, or a burden on the environment.
So my last question, Sid.
Yeah.
What are the last words you would like to leave with our listeners and our audience today?
Sorry, what was the word? Sorry.
So what are the last words of wisdom you would like to leave with our listeners today?
No, I mean, we're quite we're quite excited about our journey, and we have always been lucky to get good support from different industries and mentors and advisors and investors. So I mean, and we would be glad if some of the listeners would join us on this journey, right? And so together we can make it even bigger. So yeah, that's my probably last words is to join us on this and let's together make it big.
So where can we find you, Sid?
You can find me on LinkedIn. You can email me at sidchaks, SIDCHAKS at StaTwig.com. So those are very quick ways to find me.
Yes. Well, today Scouting for Growth was with Sid Chakravarthy. Thank you, Sid, for taking the time to share with us your wisdom on blockchain, NFTs, Metaverse, and supply chain management for vaccines. And I look forward to continuing following your journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Sabine. Thanks so much.
If you like this podcast, subscribe now, share with your friends, and if you enjoyed it, please give it a 5-star review. Also, if you want to cover any specific subject with me, contact me on Instagram under Sabine VdL Officials or LinkedIn under Sabine VdL. Thank you.